Who is a covert narcissist between Nikky Thots and Jamie Perkins? Or are they simply not compatible in their marriages? Hello, my co-host. How are you doing? Welcome back to another review with Tellasis. Today, we are jumping into the backup response of his ex-wife, Nikky Thots, of the things that Jamie never included in the video that he released. By the way, Nikky's one wasn't a video, it was a text. Here, this is Nikky's messages I am reading, and I'm gonna be responding my thoughts based on what I watched on Jamie's video. So Nikky wrote on Instagram, she said, I made a video responding to the allegations and was ready to press post for the sake of our children. I'm not going to engage in a back and forth online. I will share context that was missing from his video and leave this subject alone. I have had no contact with him since he posted that video, nor have I threatened legal action. Jamie removed the video simply because he saw that people weren't buying this story. Yeah, like I said before, after Jamie posted this video, so many responses that were calling him OG, weak man, narcissist, covert narcissist, a lot of things were thrown at Jamie. So I will also believe that he removed that video based on the slander that he is getting, but I don't think it's because the video he posted was a lie. I don't think it's a lie, because me listening and watching that video twice, I didn't read any spite. Again, that's my view. I just see genuinely that he wants to release himself from the bulk of the things he's been carrying in his heart for a long time. Though from that video, I pick some flaws from him, which he wasn't speaking out loud, but from the video, you can pick his own weak point, as well as Nikky's weak point. Now we have established why maybe he took down the video. Let's get deeper into Nikky's own side of view. Depression is not something I would ever take lightly. The comment I made on the recorded audio were not okay. Before he pressed record, he was calling me crazy and said I needed psychiatric help, threatening to take full custody of our kids, so I stood to his level. This isn't an excuse, and I apologize if this statement caused offense to anyone. Back to Jamie's video. The ex-wife, for what I am understanding in that video, most of the time in that marriage, she is on the vulnerable edge, and then she's got anger issues, and then some things she is doing, I can agree that he is likely to say what she said here, right? Based on the way he said that she was behaving. He is likely to say this. In that video, he mentioned about a time where he got a free ticket that he was supposed to take the kids to Disney. But she became jealous because she wants to be the first person to take the kids to Disney. So at the end, he also mentioned that because he doesn't want the kids to miss this opportunity, he even asked her to go by herself. Long story short, the kids didn't go to this Disney, so they missed out on this. And what Jamie is saying is that she, in her own pride or whatever that is going on in her own side, you know, she deprived the kids of the opportunity to go to Disney on a free ticket. Now here is Nikky's side of the story based on that Disney stuff. I had to take legal action for my girls to even attend school at their ages in Australia. You start school at 5 or 6, depending on how early in the year you were born. Jamie wanted them to delay another year so he can milk them for views while they were in care, he said. We live in Australia and California. Was a very far flight, and he had never taken them out of the country alone. I didn't want them to go, but I offered to come, so the girls didn't miss out on the experience. But he knew if I was there, I wouldn't like him filming them as much, so he made co-parenting the issue. I wanted to put our issues aside and give the girls some happy memories with both parents. I brought up the matter of schooling because he took me back to court and forced me to send the girls in this very expensive private school. This was his request, and I'm now responsible for their expenses. Okay, what I am understanding here, following what Jamie said, she wants both of them to go together for them to co-parent. But the question here is, did she really communicate what she wanted? Or this thinking, did it just stay in her head? Because one thing is, you are thinking for you people to do this for now, for the sake of the kids, to co-parent together. This is a free ticket. It might be saying one of the parent, probably they already know he is divorced. So if the ticket is saying one of the parents, how then do you want to co-parent? And he mentioned that he offered you the chance to go by yourself and do it. So who is lying and who is saying the truth here? I don't know. But I will specifically say that I think the major problem here is communication, because I don't think Nikky really communicated what she wanted to Jamie. Talking about the school thing, if she's the one paying the bill, she's got to take the bill that she can cater for. So if she cannot cater for expensive private school, hell no, you don't do that except you want to pay the bills. The dad playground. At this point of co-parenting, I had reached my tolerance and wanted minimal in-person contact with him for the sake of Ava and Zoe. He would always have his phone out trying to bait a disagreement with me because I didn't want them being used in content. I asked him to put Zoe in school on a Wednesday so I could completely avoid contact with him. One parent drops them off and the other one picks them up. This seems like a great solution, but of course he fought me on this too. Had there been work obligations restricting him from changing his schedule, I would completely understand, but there wasn't. He had only been to this playground one time. He could have made their other arrangements for the sake of healthy co-parenting. Okay, in Jamie's own video, he actually said that this arrangement affected his work. It makes him to be driving long hours after work to where he will pick the kids. Now they are separated. I don't think Nikky will know exactly his schedule. So if he give you a particular schedule and you just change it for your own selfish means, maybe because you don't want to be meeting with him because it gives you headache, but he is the person doing the job. You are not the one doing the job. He says it's too much for him. The 40th birthday. On Jamie's birthday, the girls had school. They mentioned Dad was going to Sydney for his birthday. He was aware she had a dental emergency, so I took the next available appointment, which happened to fall on Friday. I offered for him to take them instead as it was an emergency, and he said he'd rather take them out for ice cream so he doesn't miss his flight. The appointment was at 5 p.m. I picked the girls up from the local ice cream place at 4:40 and we went to our appointment. Jamie then left for the airport at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Sydney. Okay, now I don't know whom to believe here, because in Jamie's own video, he actually made it look like his birthday was messed up because she fixed the appointment, though he provided a ticket where this appointment was made after she already knew about his birthday. So the ticket he posted showed an intentional fixing of this dental meeting on his birthday date. But what Jamie didn't mention was the fact that he actually traveled to Sydney, or traveled out for his birthday. I thought the whole dental stuff ruined his day. Jamie's health issue now. Jamie's health issues never stopped him from partying with friends, never stopped him from taking trips overseas while I looked after our children. When I did ask for assistance, he would throw it in my face that I was the one who wanted kids. So I find it interesting that he claims he's too sick to work a regular job. Like I mentioned this before, prior to the marriage, Nikky was working. She worked hard to support their marriage, so he didn't cater for the marriage alone. So this will give an impression of a man marrying a helping wife, and all of a sudden she has some excuses. Then there's this modeling stuff that many people were talking about, that she missed out in her modeling stuff and everything. Jamie did say that he encouraged her to go for that modeling at South Africa, and she did went, but it didn't go the way she expected. So when she came back, that really depressed her, making it look like it is his fault. But I think if he allowed her to go to South Africa, supported her, motivated her to do that, that's the best he could do. So when she got back from that, she never worked. He mentioned that she did take care of the house so well. He also mentioned that he, at some point, as they agreed, handed her over the channel, right? Because he was practically doing everything before. He was the editor, he was the brain behind it, he was the one searching for the way the channel would grow. Of course, the channel did grow. He was the one that seeked for the adverts and all that. So he was the brain, let me put it like that, behind the channel. But he did mention that he saw that people resonate more to Nikky's video and he started backing out. He now does more of the background work while Nikky stays in front. And afterwards, he did taught Nikky how to edit videos, and he also was doing it even better than him. He said it. He said it. So I don't know why people were calling him out. So there was a video he also showed. I wish I knew he would take the video down. I would have taken down all this receipt. He did show that voice clip towards the end where she was saying, you have no friends, you are the one always alone. So how come she is the one that said he's got no friend, he's the one miserable, he's lonely and all that? And here she is also saying that he is taking trips abroad, partying with friends and all that. As in, I think maybe at some point he's got to do something to himself to help himself come out of his depression or his anxiety of whatever that have come upon him after all the trauma that he went through, which of course should involve friends. But like I said, in her own voice, in a receipt Jamie provided, she mentioned that he should be the one that will be restricted from the children because of his vulnerable nature, that he doesn't have friends, he's always lonely, blah 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 and all that. She went on to say, I even gave him ideas of what he could film. I told him he could make videos editing content as he's a great editor, or work a traditional job. I don't know if she gave this advice, very good, but the way she's lashing out, I doubt if she'll be patient to say this because there's already communication lacking. But if she did say this, that's nice. I'm not limiting his capacity to earn. I simply put my foot down and say, don't exploit our children for monetary gain like he did with me. Jamie kept dragging me back to court and writing complaints to my lawyer constantly. The legal fees he incurred were self-inflicted. In this part, I agree with Nikky. He claimed I was vengeful, but after I left, he stole the channel, changed password to the business email so I couldn't work with past clients, and changed our bank details on AdSense so the revenue from our past vlogs went to his personal account. He kept the vlogs for himself, leaving me with zero memories of our children. I requested my full birth videos, but he kept them from me for 3.5 years. He used this as leverage so that I changed my stance on him making content with the girls. Part of the reason I vlogged was to have a memory diary of our babies as they grew, but he kept these from me too. I even asked for footage of my sister Sarah. He had all of the hard drives and he told me they were destroyed. Please keep in mind, my sister isn't alive anymore and they were the only video of her. I had to look back and remember her. He knew our children and my sister were a sensitive spot for me, so he would use these two things to control me. In this aspect, Jamie actually mentioned in his video that because of the constant heat from Nikky, for him to delete every family videos on their channel, because he couldn't take it anymore. It was hard for him, but to respect her and to avoid any more forth and back and argument and everything that was already inflicting trauma on him, he had to obey what she wanted and deleted all those videos, even against his will. He also mentioned that Nikky, and whatever she wants, that's what she wants. The house he's living in now, or their house, he also mentioned that when they got that house, it was what Nikky wanted. Even though they couldn't afford it, they had to go extra miles to get it because it was what Nikky wanted. And they had to put it up to the standard Nikky wanted it. And at the end, she walked away from it, leaving the whole bill on him, which also was the reason why he had to do Uber driving, since the channel wasn't generating much income for him to be able to keep up the house. She now making it look like Jamie intentionally or on his own accord deletes all this content to hurt her. I don't find it fair. But anyways, you guys are the ones watching them. You can tell both of their characters from what you have watched better than myself that hasn't even watched the two of them together. I said no, and our divorce was finalized in December of 2020. Since then, I've been negotiating their online presence and managed to get it down to one video a week featuring the kids. This was across all platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I worked very hard to lower their online presence because I saw how it affects them. I initially agreed to him filming with the kids as long as he pays them a percentage, but he refused that offer. This is very complicating again. So if he agrees to pay them percentage, then the way the video showcasing is affecting them wouldn't matter. But for the fact that he didn't agree to pay the percentage, then it matters. Sounds interesting, huh? Okay. I'm leaving it again to you guys that had been watching them slandering Jamie. I think you guys need to look into this issue with a fair mind and open mind. I am glad I haven't watched two of them, so I am not applying sentiment in here. I am being very open based on the video of Jamie I watched and based on her response in a response to that video and other people's comment just slandering only Jamie. Only few people had been honest enough to say their own side, but majority of the people were slandering Jamie. I never kept him from the kids. I said you can see them whenever you want. All I asked is that he stopped exploiting them. I saw how it affected me in the marriage and didn't want our kids to suffer the same confusion because Dad was totally different when the cameras were on him. In 2020, Jamie's messaged my sister and was trying to get me back once he saw his views were still low, despite using the kids for the majority of his content. I had already filed for divorce, but he wanted me to change my mind. He came to my parents' house, we went for a walk, and he told me he wanted his family back. Yeah, Jamie made it clear, say that she is a great woman. So this is to tell you that he does know his own flaws and he still loves his family and he still wants them back. Meanwhile, he was the first one that called it a quit because the trauma of the screaming at him and the not agreeing with him and the fact that he said he's got a wife but he can't have conversation with his wife. So he has to go and meet other people for what he needs, makes him feels like he's married but single. Plus the fact that Nikky was trying to cheat on him because he saw ex-boyfriend message. He loved them as family and he wanted it back, but unfortunately Nikky has moved on. I think she moved on with her ex, if I am understanding. His mother enabled his behavior and signed as a witness that she saw me beating him in front of the children. The clip you saw of me smacking the phone, and they took this evidence to court. I put a counter complaint on him and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's nothing I love more than our daughters, so he used that footage to silence me. We never went before a judge. Instead, he had okay. Now she is claiming that this is the only one that had happened, but he was saying that this had been happening for over years throughout their marriage because he wanted an evidence for people to see that he wasn't lying. He had to take footage of this one. He also mentioned the part she hit him in the presence of his brother. Shortly after the encounter, he tried to get a restraining order on me. Not only did he put himself down as a protected person, but also our two young daughters. If he was successful in obtaining that, I could not come within 200 meters of them. He smacked the camera out of his hand because I was in a vulnerable moment and didn't want to be recorded. This was a pattern where he constantly violated me by filming me without consent. It started early at 18. Then when I gave birth, he posted me my very personal birth vlog without giving me any time to emotionally recover. I remember begging him to give me time with our new baby before we shared her with the world, but he told me to stop sabotaging the channel. When the camera were rolling, Jamie was very sweet to me, but behind the lens, he was highly critical. My body after children quickly became a main topic, and he expressed me needing, okay, both of them didn't understand themselves before they got into this marriage thing. And going about when she said this started since she was 18, I want to believe now that this is the reason why people started calling Jamie OG and started saying that he married her 18. I am wondering if he married her or he started dating her at the age of 18. When then, at what age then did she now met her ex that she was trying to cheat him with? So I am confused here because it's not adding up to me. Anyway, it's not adding up because I think this is not true. Anyways, long story short, she was too young. She married too young. She barely knew herself. And Jamie, at that age, 27, you know, men can be 27 but still don't understand themselves. Women mature faster than men, and once women gets into this childbearing age, there's another level of maturity it gives them, you know. So at that point she started realizing that she needs her privacy, but Jamie still hasn't grown into that. You will still see men 40 years and above still behaving that same way if they haven't gotten into that maturity. So he blamed me for absolutely everything. Nothing I could do was right, and I was at fault for anything that went wrong in his life. Jamie said the same thing about Nikky. So who are we to believe here? I don't know. You guys that watch them from 2011 should tell me what is the truth. But from this, my analogy, I think both of them have their issues. In my conclusion, who is the covert narcissist between Jamie Perkins and Nikky Thots? In my own opinion, I don't think both of them are any of these. But I simply think that they are both not compatible in their marriage. Why? Because Nikky was so young. Jamie, even though older, but still young. They both didn't know what they wanted. Nikky hasn't understood herself. Even till now, I don't think she understood herself. Nikky has gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of challenges being an immigrant and also having lost her sister. She's very vulnerable and she's got temper and all these things. She hasn't really healed from it. And on the other side, Jamie understood himself a bit, but he didn't look at the other side of the deficiencies of, if my wife have children, some things are bound to change. He didn't look at it at that point of view. He was so selfish in chasing the views and the YouTube business and whatsoever. He got it and he lost it all. At the end of the day, it boils down on them not being compatible. And how do you identify that they are not compatible with each other? First, their lack of communication issues. They don't know how to communicate to each other. And number two, they do not have shared goals and values, because as you can see in both the video, Jamie is busy chasing content, while Nikky enjoys this content and the things that comes from it. It wasn't really her thing. She wants to do nursing, she wants to do modeling, and she hasn't really come in terms to what she really wants to do in life. So they have different shared interests in that marriage. Constant conflict. They are always having constant conflict, as you can see. Why? Because lack of communication, lack of shared values and goals. Emotional disconnect. There is emotional disconnect. Why? I believe when Jamie was working too much, he loves luxurious life. Nikky said it as well in one of the tickets that Jamie showed. Imagine when you do two hard jobs, and then you do mental work of YouTube, editing and everything. You will be so exhausted to even think straight, let alone giving your wife the love and tender care and listening and the pamper that she deserves, or even see when she is not connecting with you during that video. So Jamie, you fucked up. All these things I mentioned will lead to unfulfilled needs. And now, for those of you that are saying that he is a covert narcissist, I believe you don't know what narcissism is. Please refer to this video above to watch 7 narcissistic traits that will let you know that someone is a narcissist. And if you watch it, you will now realize that their issue is not the fact that both of them are narcissists. No, they are not. They are just not compatible. So this is my own thought. What do you think? Feel free to leave your own thoughts down the comment section. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. And please check out all our social media sites and also the blog site at www.TellnotorTellasis.com. You know I love you. One love. Bye bye bye. Love you.